What is a verb? A verb is a word that describes an action, event, or state of being. Verbs are often called doing words because they show what the subject of a sentence is doing. For example, cook, drive, play. Types of verbs. Verbs can be classified into the following types based on their functions and relation to other words in sentences. Main or action verbs, auxiliary or helping verbs, linking verbs, stative verbs, regular verbs, irregular verbs, transitive verbs, intransitive verbs, ditransitive verbs, finite verbs, non-finite verbs, compound verbs, and phrasal verbs. In this lesson, we will discuss main verbs and auxiliary verbs. Main or action verbs. Main verbs, also called action verbs, express actions, whether physical or mental, that the subject of the sentence performs. They are also called dynamic verbs because they demonstrate movement and can be used in continuous tenses, showing an ongoing action or event. Examples include run, jump, think, grow, wash, drive, etc. These are important for clear and concise communication, expressing what is happening in a sentence. Forms of action or dynamic verbs. Dynamic verbs can be further categorized into accomplishment verbs, achievement verbs, and activity verbs. Accomplishment verbs are verbs that describe actions that indicate a defined end or result, often with a focus on the process and duration involved. Examples of accomplishment verbs include achieved, completed, executed, supervised, etc. Example sentences include 1. He obtained the necessary funding for the research project. 2. She developed a new teaching strategy that improved the students' engagement in learning. The focus is on the process of creating and the positive outcome. Achievement verbs. These verbs describe actions that show positive result or outcome of a task or goal. They mark a change of state or a specific point in time, like reaching a height, earning a degree, receiving an award, etc. Achievement verbs include attained, gained, secured, obtained, won, succeeded, excelled. Sentence examples include 1. He won the gold medal. 2. She acquired a new skill and earned a promotion. 3. The man found his lost wallet in the park after searching for hours. Activity verbs. These verbs describe actions that can continue for an indefinite period. They don't have a natural endpoint. They answer the question, what is the subject doing? Examples are work, talk, play, swim, kick, read, work, think, etc. Many verbs can function as both physical and mental depending on the context. Sentence examples include 1. The girl played the piano. 2. Daniel swam across the river. Auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are called helping verbs because they assist the main verbs in sentences to express tenses of verbs such as past, present, and future. They express mood in terms of certainty and possibility. They can also express voice, such as active or passive voice. Auxiliary verbs are also used to form questions and negatives in sentences. They are of two types. 1. Primary auxiliary verbs. 2. Modal auxiliary verbs. The primary auxiliary verbs include forms of be, which are am, is, are, was, were, be, being, being. They also include forms of have, such as has, have, having, had. Forms of do, does, doing, did, done. The be verbs is, are, was, were, being, and being are used to form continuous tenses. For example, she is speaking. Passive voice like the book was written. And also questions and negatives. Are you working? The primary auxiliary have include has, have, had, and are used to form perfect tenses. For example, they have eaten. They can also form questions and negatives. For example, have you eaten? Have you not eaten? Do. Do includes do, does, did, done. These are used to form questions and negatives in simple present and simple past tenses. For example, do you want some food? I do not understand, etc. Modal auxiliary verbs. These verbs express intention, ability, possibility, obligation, permission, and can also be used to make polite requests in sentences. They modify the main verb's meaning to indicate the speaker's attitude or the likelihood of an action. Modal verbs are always followed by the base form of the main verb, that is, the infinitive without to. They don't change form for person or number, like in singular or plural. Modal auxiliaries include can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, ought to, used to, must, have to, had better, need to. The modal auxiliaries can and could express ability or possibility. For example, I can swim. Could you help me? Will and would express future time or willingness. For example, I will visit. I would like some tea. And also past habits like when I was a child, I would play in the rain. Shall and should express obligation or suggestion. For example, you should study. Shall we dance? The modal auxiliaries may and might express possibility. They can also be used to ask or get permission. For example, it may rain. May I come in? You may come in. Must. Must expresses necessity or obligation. For example, I must call him now. Ought to. These express obligation or expectation. For example, you ought to have seen the baby. Had better. This indicates advice or strong hope. For example, you had better leave now, or I'd better leave now. Need to. This can indicate necessity or obligation similar to must or have to. For example, you need to leave now. Used to. Used to describes past habits or states that are no longer true in the present. Used to is always followed by the base form of the verb, that is, infinitive without to. For example, I used to live in Spain. This indicates that the speaker no longer lives in Spain. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share.